Chairman Durbin and Ranking Member Grassley, thank you for holding this hearing, most importantly, and thank you also for inviting me to speak before the committee today. I am grateful for your interest in this topic. I'd like to thank the survivors who will once again tell their stories. I express my respect for them today. Michaela Maroney, Maggie Nichols, Simone Biles, Allie Reisman, as well as all the survivors who are also, other survivors who are also joining us today, Jessica Howard, Jamie Dancer, Kaylee Lorenz. On January the 25th, 2018, as chairman of the Senate Commerce Subcommittee with jurisdiction over the health and safety of amateur athletes, Senator Blumenthal, my ranking member, and I opened an investigation into how USA Gymnastics, the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee, and Michigan State University allowed a monster to assault and abuse young women for decades. Early in our meeting with the survivors, one of them asked the question, and it has stuck with me since then. Since the very beginning of our investigation 3.5 years ago, and the question was, why was there more than one of us? I do not know how to answer that question. I do not know a human being that I would not expect to report if someone told them they were being abused, to report to law enforcement, to officials. And yet, time and time again, no one accepted that responsibility for these young women. Why was there more than one? And most recently, we learned even the Federal Bureau of Investigation belongs on the list of those who failed in their responsibility, allowing for there to be more than one, more than dozens. Over 18 months, we held 4 committee hearings, we conducted hundreds of interviews, and we reviewed over 70,000 pages of documents. This bipartisan effort culminated last fall in the passage of the Empower Olympic and Paralympic and Amateur Athlete Act, which strengthened legal liability and accountability mechanisms over the Olympic movement in the United States and worked to restore a culture that put athletes first. We knew, we continue to know, our job is not done. We will continue working with athletes and survivors now to make certain that that law is effective in meeting its goals. And we are here today because of those athletes, those victims, those survivors, because of their advocacy and their courage. Together, we have demanded change and accountability from the institutions and individuals who covered up, enabled, and contributed to the abuse of young athletes. And as I said earlier, unfortunately, that list now includes the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Senator Blumenthal is correct. It's not just about these survivors. It's not just about gymnastics. It's not even necessarily about the Olympics. This challenge is pervasive in our country, in our society, in our culture, and the Chairman Durbin, indicated today an instance in his home state. All of us could find those, know those, and recognize that there is much more to be done. But during the course of our investigation, we uncovered evidence the FBI received credible information of the dangers Nassar posed to athletes. Yet, the FBI did not appear to take any additional actions. Furthermore, we learned that while the agents in Indianapolis claimed to have sent information they gathered to the appropriate offices in Michigan, it wasn't until evidence collected by local authorities that evidence was turned over to the FBI in Lansing, Michigan, and that officials in Michigan then learned of Nassar's abuse. Subsequently, the OIG report in July confirmed this misconduct. The OIG report confirmed our suspicions. The FBI received explicit warnings about Larry Nassar's horrific abuse from a survivor years before the perpetrator was finally arrested. The FBI failed to protect our athletes. This inaction is appalling and, as we've all said, unacceptable. I remain committed to working with this committee, the Judiciary Committee, my colleagues in the Senate, and the survivors here today to protect and empower all athletes. As the ranking member of the Appropriations Subcommittee that oversees the Department of Justice, I will work to be certain the FBI agents are held accountable for their actions, that it is never repeated. I look forward to working with you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Ranking Member, in that regard, and I know Senator Sheen, the now chairperson of our Appropriations Subcommittee, would join us in that effort. Our goal should remain the same, to hold accountable those for these crimes and to make certain future generations can train, can compete, and can succeed without fear of abuse. I appreciate Inspector Horwitz and his report, his thoroughness. I thank Senator Blumenthal for his partnership in our subcommittees, 3.5 and now continuing efforts. And I particularly thank the Senate Judiciary Committee for allowing me to speak today. This is something we must not forget, and all of us need to be able to answer why was there more than one. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Thanks, Senator.